Now at 5 and streaming on CrossroadsToday.com, Victoria County Commissioners decide whether to finance part of a hospital ICU project. Big changes coming to Crossroads Recovery, how two organizations are joining forces to expand help. And House Democrats launch a big Texas fundraiser, how they plan to target key voters ahead of the midterm.
Well, another week, another bit of a heat wave. Temperatures going to be pushing up to near triple digits for most of this week. We'll talk about it coming up in a moment.
Plus, tariff tensions rise between the U.S. and Europe. What's at stake in the new agreement and who it helps most? You're watching 25 News Now at 5. Good afternoon. Thanks for being with us. I'm Don Brubaker. Shauna Curry is on assignment. Citizens Medical Center is asking Victoria County Commissioners to issue $10 million in certificates of obligation to help finish out the ICU project. Commissioners issued certificates in 2019 for the hospital's emergency room expansion. Just like last time, the county, since it owns the hospital, would issue the debt, but the hospital would make the payments. A draft agreement of the plan is already in the works and goes before the hospital board next month.
This is kind of a housekeeping chore. The numbers in terms of what's included in the resolutions are not to exceed numbers. Right. The Commissioners Court is in no way committing itself to do these transactions at this point. It's simply a housekeeping chore to get the process started. When you come back on the 28th, if the court decides to issue the COs on the 28th, that's when the final size of those deals will be determined.
Final budget and tax rate decisions are set for September 29th. Right now, the county's total outstanding debt is just under $34 million, with more than half tied to bonds issued for the hospital. Big changes are coming to the Crossroads Recovery community. Perpetual Help Home is joining forces with Billy T. Catan Recovery Outreach starting September 1st. The merger brings new resources and a unified team to support people in transition. Services will range from treatment to housing, all designed to help individuals rebuild their lives. It's a move rooted in compassion and a shared mission to offer hope. Here's your viewer poll today. The question is, what's the biggest challenge for people in recovery in your area? Is it access to treatment or stable housing or emotional support or job opportunities? So far, access to treatment getting the most votes, 70% of them. And we want to hear from you. Visit crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part, and we'll have the latest results at 6. Before we get to the weather, I wanted to let you know about why I've not been on the air for about a little over the last month or so. Back on June 25th, I had two procedures in my forehead, on my forehead right there. One was to take out skin cancer and then reconstructive surgery after that. Now I'm wearing a bunch of makeup, but so far so good. And thanks for all the people who said, "We miss you, Don." Well, I'm back. And so is the hot weather, Mac.
Yeah, we missed you too, Don. But the truth is, folks, really, he was here working back, but not on camera because of that thing. And we're very happy that he's, are you free again? Free again?
I am free of cancer, yes.
There you go. We're happy for you. Welcome back, Don. Well, good afternoon, everybody. We had one little lone shower that popped up just to the north of the city. You can see it right about there, kind of wobbling around up 77, and that's about it. Other than that, folks, it's going to be hot. We're looking at triple digits through most of this week, and then we'll take a look at the tropics to see if anything's moving out there as well. So all that coming up in just a few minutes. Back to you, Don.
Mac, thank you. Curry County Commissioners got an update and discussed the status of recovery efforts from the July 4th flooding this morning. Curry County Judge Rob Kelly said that the county is still in the search and rescue phase, with 2 people still missing after the catastrophic floods on the 4th of July. TxDOT is currently working on state highways to remove debris. Curry County Commissioners said that contractors are beginning to arrive and will be there for months. In the past 5 years, Ken Paxton has grown increasingly reliant on pricey private lawyers to argue cases on behalf of the state rather than the hundreds of attorneys who work within his office. To read this full Texas Tribune article, visit our website, crossroadstoday.com. Today, the House Majority PAC announced a plan to raise $20 million to back Democratic candidates across Texas ahead of this fall's midterm elections. The effort, called the Lone Star Fund, will focus on GOP-held seats Democrats believe they can flip, especially as Texas undergoes a Republican-led redistricting fight. The Super PAC also previewed attack ads planned for the campaign and said it will target key voting blocs, especially Hispanic voters in areas where Republicans have recently made gains. In addition, the group says it will work to reach low information voters who could make a difference in competitive races. Only days to go until President Trump's tariffs take effect. President Trump striking a preliminary deal yesterday with the European Union after a weeks-long standoff. It comes as Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent today meets with trade negotiators from China. ABC News White House correspondent Karen Travers has the latest.
President Trump in Scotland this morning talking trade alongside the British Prime Minister. The president says China is tough to negotiate with, saying we're going to see what happens. With days to go until the August 1st deadline for President Trump's tariffs to kick in.
We're making deals that are good for us.
Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent in Sweden today for trade negotiations with China, the world's second biggest economy. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney today says his country's negotiations with the U.S. are at a critical stage.
The negotiations are at an intense phase. It's a complex negotiation.
On Sunday, the U.S. and the European Union agreeing on a 15% tariff covering most goods from the EU's 27 member countries.
It's the biggest deal, I think, in history, not just trade deal.
European leaders today blasting that deal.
Valoro el esfuerzo que ha hecho la Comisión Europea.
Spain's prime minister says he supports the trade agreement, but without any enthusiasm. German Chancellor Merz says his country's economy will suffer considerable damage as a result of the tariffs. And the Hungarian prime minister says President Trump ate Ursula von der Leyen for breakfast.
15% is not to be underestimated, but it is the best we could get.
The tariffs will cover cars and pharmaceuticals, one of the EU's biggest exports to the U.S. The 15% tariff down from the 30% tariff the president threatened. But it's still not clear what it means for popular European wine.
15% on top of another 14/15% on the dollar exchange rate makes 30. And this is already pretty bad.
President Trump says the European Union will also buy $750 billion in energy goods from the United States over the next 3 years, as well as a large amount of military equipment. Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell. Then you can see Crossroads Today on YouTube. And stay with us straight ahead on 25 News now at 5. A suspect faces charges after a stabbing spree at a Walmart. What police say about the heroes who stopped him. Also ahead, a new study finds daily walking can help protect the brain. How this simple habit may lower Alzheimer's risks for some. Man accused of stabbing multiple people at a Walmart in Traverse City, Michigan, was formally charged Monday with terrorism and 11 counts of assault with intent to murder. ABC's Rena Roy with the latest in the investigation.
Arraignment today for the alleged suspect in the stabbing spree at a Michigan Walmart.
Enter pleas of
not guilty as to each count.
Authorities in northern Emmett County say they'd already been looking for 42-year-old Bradford James Gilley the day before the attack that left 11 people injured, including a store employee. It's unclear why they were looking to take Gilley into custody, but authorities say he has had run-ins with the law in the past. In 2016, Gilley was accused of digging up and damaging a grave, but court records show the charges were later dropped after a judge ruled him not guilty by reason of insanity.
Mr. Gilley's history shows prior assaultive incidents as well as controlled substance violations.
You see Gilley here outside that Walmart in Traverse City.
Throw the knife that way! Throw it away!
Bystanders urging him to put down the folding knife that police say he used in his rampage. One man pointing a gun at Gilley as others tend to the injured.
Multiple citizens, including one who was armed with a pistol, were confronting the male suspect in the parking lot and preventing him from harming further people.
The attack happened just before 5 p.m. on Saturday.
I heard screaming and I heard a lot of commotion, like a lot of panicked yelling. There was blood everywhere. There was people kind of sitting at the ends of aisles just bleeding.
Police say a sheriff's deputy who happened to be nearby got to the scene just 3 minutes after the first 911 call. Officials say the victims' ages range from 29 to 84 years old. At least one has been released from the hospital, and another is still listed in serious condition.
Gilley is facing a slew of charges, including terrorism and 11 counts of assault with intent to murder. So far, no word on a motive. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
A federal judge in Boston issued a nationwide injunction blocking part of a Trump administration domestic policy law. The law would have cut Medicaid funding to health providers that also offer abortion services, including Planned Parenthood, though it was not named directly. The judge ruled that patients could suffer from disrupted care or lose access to medical services altogether. The court also found that Planned Parenthood was likely singled out for unfair treatment and that the plaintiffs in the case are likely to succeed on their claims. A new study shows that walking daily can reduce the risk of cognitive decline, especially among people with a genetic predisposition for Alzheimer's. Almost 3,000 participants between the ages of 70 and 79 reported their daily walking habits over the course of 10 years. Those who reported maintaining or increasing their walking habits showed greater improvements in processing speed and executive function. To understand why, more research is needed. The study results will be presented tomorrow at the annual Alzheimer's Association International Conference. The research has not yet been peer-reviewed or published. Pretty sure we don't have to remind you it's the first day of the traditional work week, also known as Monday. And if you're feeling less than excited about the end of the weekend, Mandy Gaither is here, and she has some simple ways to help you beat the Monday blues. It's today's Health Minute.
Goodbye, weekend. Hello, work week. It's time to get back to the grind. But if this day has you feeling blue, you're not alone. A 2020 study suggests job satisfaction dips and workplace stress rises at the beginning of the week compared to the end.
Here's an idea. Give yourself a few things to look forward to during the week. Things that might make you happier and feel more fulfilled.
Dr. Sanjay Gupta says if you're longing for the weekend, booking activities during the week can help ease the Monday blues. That could include playing a sport, doing trivia, or joining a book club.
If the activity includes other people, you're going to be more likely to follow through and make it a habit.
Gupta says to also consider challenging yourself to try something new, like learning a language.
Adding commitments to your week may be hard at first, but additional goal-focused activity can actually give you more energy.
Finally, Gupta says to help yourself get through the work week by adding positive interactions throughout the day.
Doesn't have to be much. Maybe just paying someone a compliment. These chats can cause small bursts of positive emotions, something I think we can all use.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Be careful before you cool off this summer. Tropicale Foods announced an ice cream recall. The Food and Drug Administration reports some Helados Mexico and La Michoacana products have undeclared milk. Officials say this can pose a potential threat for people with certain allergies. These items were sold at retail stores nationally. More information about the flavors included on this recall is available at fda.gov.
Well, maybe you cool down with a little iced tea or a snow cone, icy drink, something like that, because you need to cool down. I mean, that's just the bottom line. The hot weather is back with us now that the little rain we had for the past few days is over. It's 96 right about now. It feels like 102, and that was our high for today, but it's going to climb up a little bit higher as pressures change. We'll talk more about your weather coming up after this. Yeah, heat is back, and we're just going to have to deal with it because it's not even August yet. Of course, August begins this week, and we'll be dealing with another 30 days of this. Right about now, I just want you to see that we have a good, strong sea breeze, but that's sort of good news, bad news, because high pressure is on top of us. It's squeezing the atmosphere down. So all the moisture basically staying in the bottom 1,000 feet of the atmosphere where you and I are walking around. Up above, it's actually fairly dry. That's why you don't see any high clouds out there, but you do see a few little low-level clouds around here, and that high pressure is not only in control of us, but pretty much all the southern United States, right about there, as you can see. Now, if this center were to move up here to St. Louis, we'd be opening the door for some tropical systems, but that's not happening in the short term, although in the long term we will eventually see that. Stormy weather, believe it or not, continues throughout much of the southwest, where New Mexico is saturated with rain. They've had too much rain, which is kind of a hard thing to say when you're talking about a desert, right? Okay, so they're looking for something. We had one little shower that popped up just to the north of the city. Here's downtown, and here's, of course, Highway 77, and there you see that little one thunderstorm that popped up and just sort of disappeared. So that's about the extent of it. Not much more than that around here. We continue with a very hot heat index. We're looking at 103 for tomorrow, 102 for Wednesday for a little drier air, but then we get back to Friday, Saturday, and it's as steamy as it was this weekend. I was outdoors and came back, had to take another shower. It was that bad. Now we may have a little bit of fog in the morning. Now this is interesting. The inversion, or the pressure is high, right? And we still have a sea breeze, so it's bringing in that marine air, and it'll be so dense and low to the ground that we may pick up some fog tomorrow morning, but soon by 9 o'clock that will burn off, and we've got sunny skies for the rest of the day. As we, let me see, I'm gonna just jump over this one and get to the next one. Easily you can see that big dome, see all that red? That's the summer dome of high pressure, the subtropical high, and that's what brings us summertime here in the Crossroads. Across the Atlantic, here's some stormy weather over the island of the Dominican Republic. No major development. Another little one up here, no major development. Out here in the southwest, in the what we call the main development region, we're getting wave after wave, and we've got 4 on its way, but they get out about here and they die. Why? First of all, crosswinds or shear, and second of all, the dust. This has been an unusually dusty season, and all that dust all the way from the Saharan desert. We had a spot over us today and over the weekend. That's why it might have been hazy where you were, but as we look out in the Atlantic still a little on the hot side. Now, just to give you an idea, if it's 95 degrees in the shade, it's 90. That helps. But if you're in the grass, in the sun, it's 105. If you're on concrete, that's up to 125. And hot asphalt, black tar, 140. Take care of the puppies, okay? Because their little paws are not going to be able to handle that. Looking for one isolated shower tomorrow, one isolated shower in Cuero, okay, maybe two. But that's about the extent of it. Otherwise, it's going to be hot and steamy, up to almost 99 for Wednesday and Thursday. That's your 7-day forecast, reminding everybody we do have a QR code. Love for you to scan that. Put Crossroads Today on your phone. And here's Don.
Thank you, Mac. And stay with us. Coming up on 25 News Now at 5, Samsung scores a $1 billion Tesla chip deal. How Elon Musk plans to speed up AI production. Stocks ended the day mixed on Monday as investors digested the announcement of a trade deal between the U.S. and EU. The Dow lost 64 points. The S&P 500 gained just over a point to eke out a record high for the 6th day in a row. The Nasdaq gained 70 points. Oil is up $1.82 to $66.71 per barrel. Samsung reached a $16.5 billion agreement to supply Tesla's latest AI semiconductors. The 8-year contract was announced Monday in a regulatory filing by Samsung, and Elon Musk confirmed the deal on X. Musk posted that Samsung's new Texas chip factory, it's in Taylor in Williamson County, will be dedicated to making the electric car giant's next generation A16 chip. He wrote that he would, quote, walk the line personally to accelerate the pace of progress, and the fab is conveniently located not far from my house. That's also in Williamson County. Big changes may be coming to the Federal Reserve. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says the Trump administration plans to restructure the Fed, just as it has done across other federal agencies. President Trump recently promoted Michelle Bowman to vice chair. She's expected to roll back post-2008 banking regulations. The White House is also considering cutting the Fed's workforce by more than 10%, and Chairman Jerome Powell is expected to step down by May or sooner, setting the stage for faster changes. The temperature is still high and summer vacation is still in full swing, but we're just a few short weeks away from the start of the school year. As the back-to-school shopping season picks up, inflation-worried consumers say they're curbing their spending on school supplies, new wardrobes, and tech. But savvy shoppers are finding ways to save, and a little creativity can go a long way for your wallet. Michael Yoshida is in Washington with a look at how high prices are cooling the back-to-school retail outlook.
Two consumer sentiment surveys are due out this week that'll show how Americans are feeling about the economy. But as the back-to-school shopping season kicks off, consumer behavior already showing shoppers may not be too confident.
It's almost that time of year again. With school supply lists in hand, parents are already beginning to shell out big bucks on books and bags, pencils and paper, crayons and calculators.
Over 2/3 of shoppers have already started picking up items for the season. This is a record high, up from 55% last year.
Catherine Cullen of the National Retail Federation says shoppers are bracing for the potential impact of tariffs.
Consumers are trying to get ahead of any potential price increases by shopping a little early, particularly for key items like apparel, electronics, and dorm furnishings.
A new survey from Deloitte found the economic uncertainty, coupled with higher prices on just about everything, is also leading many consumers to cut back, with plans to spend $570 per child on average, down 7% year over year.
We are seeing the continual impact of inflation on the discretionary items being a little bit less affordable when the amount they have to spend on their households and on health is a little bit higher.
But as parents tighten their wallets, they're also getting more creative in finding ways to save.
We're finding increased usage of first social media. This is the first year we're seeing a meaningful increase in the use of generative AI tools to support back-to-school shopping.
And those we spoke with say parents aren't necessarily using artificial intelligence to make or complete purchases, but they are becoming more tech savvy and figuring out ways to use AI tools to find better deals and find the best place to buy that item for the best price. In Washington, I'm Michael Yoshida.
And we'll be back in a moment. Here's a word I cannot say 3 times. Beetlejuice gets a cosmic +1. How a new star may be stealing the show.
More than 185 million under life-threatening heat alerts to severe storms. Plus, President Trump pressed about Jeffrey Epstein.
For years, I wouldn't talk to Jeffrey Epstein.
What he says led to their fallout. World News Tonight with David Muir is the most watched newscast in America.
Astronomers may have found a new companion star orbiting Betelgeuse, one of the brightest stars in the night sky. This red supergiant in Orion's shoulder has puzzled scientists with its changing brightness for years. Using advanced telescopes and imaging, they spotted a smaller star nearby, nicknamed, yes, Beetle Buddy. This companion could be affecting how Betelgeuse looks from Earth. Scientists expect to confirm this between November 20th and 27th, when the star is easier to see. And once again, you found out that I did not say Betelgeuse. Oh, wait a minute. I did see Betelgeuse 3 times. Sorry. I did, didn't I?
Betelgeuse. Now, 4 times. Okay.
4 times. 4 times.
Going to show up any minute now.
Well,
it's amazing to me how those scientists can see a speck out in the middle of the universe and go, oh, that's one.
Is it going to be good weather to do some stargazing?
I think so. You'll have a lovely stargazing if you want to look for Betelgeuse out there tonight, or whoever. Tomorrow we have another hot day coming up at 98 and pushing triple digits through the middle of the week. Yeah, it's summertime, folks, and it's almost the end of July, so that means what's next? August. Oh, yeah, that's another month of hot weather to deal with, John.
Rumor has it. All right, thank you, Mac, and thanks for joining us. Our next newscast is in 30 minutes after World News Now with David Muir.